vehicle.
Now it's time to unveil it.
Oh, how long am I going to have to put up with these puns?
Time will tell.
Take one. Your engine's timing belt is a fairly simple and uncomplicated component, but it has an unbelievably important job to do.
It looks like this, but in the interests of timing, here's something I prepared earlier to explain it better. Hey guys, I'm Molly.
And I'm Dan, and welcome to the Mag Garage.
In this series, we're going to arm you with a bit more car knowledge.
And who knows, next time your car needs some care and attention, we could even save you some cash.
This is MADVice. For the reverse.
Oh, all right. Okay, amazing.
It's going to look great when it's cut together.
So back to our EJ engine, the Subaru EJ engine, we're going to demonstrate exactly where the timing belt is on this one. As always, depending on the engine you have and the type and configuration, it's different, but the principle remains the same. It controls the rotation of the camshafts in relation to the crankshaft. That's your crankshaft, those are your camshafts. Those control how often and fast and to what degree the valves open, which are in the cylinder head, but they have to turn at exactly half the speed of the engine. And the way that they rotate is because of that cam belt there. Now, if that cam belt fails, or the timing belt fails, the camshafts stop turning immediately, but the crankshaft does not. And well, there's lots of things that happen when that happens, but basically it is the worst thing that can happen to your engine, and you don't want it to happen. So that's why it's so important to replace the cam belt, is to prevent it breaking.
So basically you've got all these components inside the engine that are rotating up and down, opening and closing to provide air and fuel and bangs and turning the crank, and it all has to be done at exactly the right timing to make sure that the spark fires when it needs to.
Yes.
Or fancy things. If
those camshafts go out by just a fraction of a degree, it'll actually make your engine run horribly, but it's not necessarily catastrophic. So wear in the components, and there's some adjustment in some engines, that can make a difference to the efficiency and the performance of your engine.
So this is a consumable part in terms of your service schedule. There will be timing belts built in, and that's just because by the nature of the product it will wear, right? So
yes, exactly.
It's something, it's more of like a maintenance item, like changing your oil, but it's just got a bit longer intervals in between the changes.
Precisely, and the intervals which they need changing, different according to the manufacturer. So the good news is it's a service item, and your engine is designed to have it replaced.
And it's not hugely difficult to get to, right?
Well, it depends. Some engines, it is an absolute nightmare, and in my experience, it can be very difficult to get hold to some cam belts. Others, very simple. You can see on this Subaru engine, you remove the cam covers, and it's not too bad to get to. But the bad news is it's very difficult to tell if it needs replacing just by visual inspection.
So this one is one that has been replaced, but if you look at it, it kind of looks all right.
It looks fine. It actually looks fine. You take that off and you think,
yeah.
Some manufacturers recommend if you bend the belt backwards like that, some cracks at the base of the teeth is a sign. But the problem with that is you have to take the belt off to do that. And if you've done that, you may as well just replace it for the cost of however much that belt is. No more than $100.
So if you've got an issue with the timing of your car, obviously, timing belt. And if it's a service item that it says your car's due for a timing belt, basically the advice is just say yes and change it, right?
It's a service item. Yeah. It'll have a certain number of kilometers or a time period by which this needs replacing. If in doubt, and this is why this is going to be one of our shortest MADVice videos, if in doubt, just do it. Because as we've already said, the implications of a belt failing are far, far more expensive than changing a belt earlier than it necessarily needed.
Also, it's not as simple as changing your oil or doing something like that at home. You need specialist equipment, experience, and it is critical that the timing is right. So
exactly
this is one of the ones that if it's up for a service item, get it done by a professional. Happy days.
There is an exception to the
okay.
cam belt, and that is the cam chain. So some vehicles, and this is becoming increasingly common, have a metal chain that connects the components we talked about. It still has a crankshaft, still has a camshaft, but those are connected by a timed chain. Now, chains often are life components with the engine. They don't need replacing ever as long as the engine has been well maintained. However, vehicles like Holden V6 engines are notorious for stretching chains. It's a design fault. It's also related to poor maintenance. And if that happens, then you start to get chain rattle, and you can get those the slight degrees of rotation out on the cam. That can affect your performance and efficiency. If that happens, then you might need to replace the chain. but it's not always the case because you have a chain tensioner and you have a chain guide, and those things are components that keep the chain where it should be. Sometimes you can get away with just replacing those components, which is not as big a job or involved or expensive.
But again, this is more of an expert versus, unless you have experience in timing an engine and the right equipment to do it, this is one that's easier to trust the professionals.
Yeah, once again, if in doubt, if you don't know when the last time your cam belt was changed, do it as a matter of course, because as I say, it's a relatively inexpensive thing to change. What happens if that breaks is not an inexpensive thing.
You're a mechanic for 15 years. How many
Yes.
timing belts have you done?
Squillions, Brazilians of belts, lots and lots and lots. I've done a few timing chains as well. It's not a bad job to do. It's mostly labour intensive. It needn't be an expensive job unless you have something like a Ferrari and then you have to take the engine out to do the belts. It's not a bad thing. So just do it if you're in doubt.
Just do it. And while you're just doing it, just subscribe.
Yes, exactly. If in doubt, subscribe. I like that. Everything should be like a cam belt in life, shouldn't it? Completely off
I
topic.
did hear you. Sorry, okay,
I did not.
Sorry,
you did not do with me.
3 minutes until Uber arrives.
Now, should we put this back together?
Yeah, because
why have we even got this
Uber
engine
Eats
as well?
has arrived.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Dan
All
has never ordered Uber Eats in his life.
No, I haven't.
And we're filming today and he's ordered Uber Eats.